Okay.
Hi,
Hello,
Rakhi.
everyone. Yeah. Hi,
Yeah,
Deepti.
please go on. Please introduce yourself. And we are so keen to, to learn from you on how to create an impactful social presence, digital footprint, and resume so that we become discoverable by the hiring companies.
Thank you so much, Deepti. Just before my session, we had Mitu's session, and I'm so glad a lot of part of my session has already been taken care of by Mitu in her session, and the pointers that she has taken. So it was an amazing session. So, guys, for a quick introduction about myself, I will not take much time in the intro. So I actually started my career as a technology educator way back in 1996. And I got fascinated with the term IT, and that's when I, started learning about COBOL, C++, MS-DOS, Unix. Just imagine. And without having a slightest clue about that, the thing that my core lies in being creative. So it happens, you just start your career and you really don't know where you are heading, and it is only during your in your career path and that you realize that, okay, this is not what I want to do, and I want to do something else. So the same way I needed a change, and that's when suddenly I got to know about multimedia and web designing, and that was in 1998. So connecting the dots, all the base that I had for the programming languages, which I never wanted to learn, but I did, it helped me in, extracting a lot from my trainers, which, beyond the potential of other students. And so my career, it pivoted, and I started my career as a freelance web designer. And in 2004, I launched my company, a web design and development company. And gradually we moved on to mobile development as well. Then I was a part of a project which was a massive disaster. We worked on that project for 4 years, and I can so relate to what Steve was, telling about his experience in the past. So we were working in the waterfall method, and just because the requirements kept on changing, and we kind of, rebuilt everything and rebuilt, and it was a total fiasco. And then they had to wind up everything after 4 years. Then I stumbled upon the agile ways of working, and I could so relate to it because I could find the answers to the, I could so relate to the failure of my previous project. And so I got so fascinated with it, and I started reading about it. And I started participating in with, various community activities and events and learning events. And that's how I actually met Deepti. So I actually stumbled upon her and I started contributing in various ways in her events and her initiatives, and they kind of fascinated me so much. And together we decided that I'll help her with the agile virgin products and everything that she's building, and she's really doing amazing work, I tell you. I'm also core committee member for Agility Today Fest that is running right now. I'm also a Women in Agile and Tech member. And last but not the least, I am the founder of a voluntary social work group, which is with the name of Trees India, which is more about painting the planet green. So what we do is we actually distribute saplings to school children on their birthdays, and we also educate them on how to take care of that little sapling, and actually grow it into a tree. So that's one thing that gives me a lot of satisfaction. Okay, without wasting any more time, I will quickly share my screen with you. Just give me a second. uh, I'm actually more of a Google Meet kind of a person, so please excuse me if you find me struggling with the Zoom controls. And also I'm a bit unwell today, so excuse my frequent coughing also. Okay, so just a second, I'll share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Rakhi.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So my session today is about how to be discoverable. So why I'm confident in taking this session is because I actually got myself discovered by so many people in different kind of industries and roles with whatever insights and capabilities that I feel that I possessed in myself. And I would like to share those as well as other things which even Meetu had mentioned in her session. Uh, okay, so first we need to understand why exactly are we here. So all of us, all the participants that are here, there is something that we want to take away from this session. So, and there is a reason why we are here in this session, is because we want to know that how we should be discovered, by whom, by, first of all, by the people who are hiring, then people who are looking for experts, people who can offer you jobs. So we want to be discovered amongst people who can actually help you or who actually need you for the right kind of skill set that you possess. So how to actually get discovered for that skill set that you possess, but you might not be discoverable right now. Okay, so and since this is a agile career boot camp, so my key focus will be on agile roles. So I want you to quickly take out your pen and paper. And one thing which I want you to write is, what does discoverable mean to you? So just give it a thought, just take only a couple of seconds. And the first thing that comes to your mind, please write that down, that what do you mean? What does being discoverable mean to you? And whosoever finishes first can quickly unmute and come up with the answer, because only one person will be given a chance, keeping in mind the time box.
I
Deepti.
want to
Okay.
Rakhi, the moment you said discoverable, and we all have so much stress for getting discovered things we don't want to. Now, my portfolio offers a lot, but if you ask me, I want to be discovered for something where my heart is and which is not so difficult. So that's what I want to be discovered for.
Thank you. Thanks, Deepti, for sharing. Okay, I'll give one more chance to another person who raises their hand.
Okay, Rakhi Nitin here.
Yeah, hi, Nitin.
For me, discover is something what you have, okay, and which you are trying to what to say, look after. Maybe I can say kind of self-awareness, okay, where we have something, okay, what we haven't used or something, that kind of stuff, okay, and where we supposed to discover. This comes only in the tough situations.
Yeah. Thank you, Nitin. Okay, so thank you guys. So we move on to our next slide, and there's another question for you, which is, why do you feel you are not discovered right now at this point in time? What is the reason that you feel that you're not still being discovered? One reason. And whosoever finishes first can speak up. Deepti, this time let it be somebody else. Because I can see that you've done it and you're so happy. It's more like, when you're able to, when you know the answer in the class and you want to be the first one to answer.
Rakhi, I just want to answer this question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if this is related to career, then updating my
Yes.
LinkedIn file
Yeah.
is much needed to get discovered. Actually, I quit my job in November 30th, 2021, but I was not getting any calls. I got so much disturbed because within 90 days I need to find another job. Otherwise, they will throw me out of Netherlands. Okay, so then I reached out to a consultancy. They told me your skill set is good, but your profile is not interesting. So
Yeah.
they gave me a lot of help, and I paid a lot of money for them, but they
Okay.
did an amazing work. And after that, I started to see recruiters meeting me, and finally understood AI tool is scanning my profile, not the human. So I need the
Yes.
important keyword in my profile. Otherwise, I'm an invisible person on this earth.
Exactly.
Sorry for the
Exactly.
long speech.
No. This is so relevant to what we are going to cover now in our session, that you have to be visible. Your visibility is important. Okay, so thank you so much. So now next and the last question from your side, from participant side, is how do you think you can be discovered? So first thing that you think you can do, the first change that you can bring to be discovered by people who are hiring. Okay, who's the first one to write? Hope you people are writing something. You're not tired because this is the last session. I don't want you to feel exhausted and tired. So quickly, whosoever
I thought
finishes
Deepti
first.
thought she will not get a chance, so she started writing. That's the reason.
That's not fair. So anyone who has finished writing can just share.
Can I give it a try, Rakhi?
Yes, Anjuman, please.
Okay, so how do we think that we can be discovered? So these days, when everybody's working from home, everybody's present on social media very frequently. Though gone are the days when people used to look at LinkedIn or Facebook over the weekends. But now everybody is clicking on the LinkedIn every 5 minutes. So I think LinkedIn, being active on the LinkedIn is one of the best options that I could foresee to be discovered. Right. For example, if I'm looking for a job in product manager area, I should start looking at product managers' posts or start liking them or start writing content on them. So accordingly, I'll be discovering that particular skill set or a capability.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Anjuman. Okay, so to summarize everything up, so we see that the discussion is going down towards being discoverable on the web. And thanks to COVID, I think it has made this as one of the mandatory thing and one of the most accessible way or the easy way for recruiters to actually find people and learn more about them than to just wait for them to show up at the time of interview and then discover something that you know totally scatters or scares them away. Okay, thank you so much, participants, and you've been like really amazing audience. And I wanted to put an applaud slide here. I just couldn't do that. So a big round of applause for all of you. So now let's get into the discovery thing, that what exactly it is, is needed to be discoverable. So I will say that being discovered or discovery can be divided into two parts. One is that you want to be discovered in general. I will just quickly explain what I mean when I say in general. And second is in finding jobs. So I will not spend much time on to explain what do I mean in general, because this is more of a boot camp, a career boot camp, and we will spend more time in on the other section. So in general, when I say, so maybe you're not looking for a job change. Maybe you are pretty happy with your current organization, but still there is that craving within you to do something more, to step out and be known for certain things. So that is also a discovery that you expect and you want within the core of your heart to happen. So maybe, so in general, I will say that within your current organization, you want to be discoverable. So how to do that? We will quickly take those tips also. Then maybe you want to be discovered in your social circle. So when I say social circle, I'm also talking about social media. So you want that on the social media platforms. And these days when we say social media, it's mostly what comes to our mind is LinkedIn. So other platforms have just taken a back seat, and LinkedIn comes first in race. So you want to be discoverable and be noticed on your social media platforms. Then at community level. So like I said, you're happy with your job. You don't need a job change. You're pretty happy with whatever business or job or whatever profession you are, you are in right now. But at a externally or at community level, you want to do something so that people know about you. That gives you a lot of satisfaction, and that's what you want to do. So how to go about it? So let's quickly take that, and then we will move on to the second section, which is how to be discoverable in finding job, the right kind of job. Okay. Okay. So let's see first tips for being discoverable in general. So I would say that if whether you are in a company, whether you are in a job, or you're running your own business, if you want, primarily it stands for people who are employees, that you have to be a little more extrovert. So I think anybody who's looking to be discoverable, that person uh, has that certain, introvert nature, that you don't actually come out of your shell and you don't extend yourself in for various activities and things going on in your organization. So be a little more extrovert, start interacting with people, don't be passive. Okay, so the more you become so the first time you become passive in any event, there is a lot of chance and possibility that even in the next one you will be passive, and gradually you become all the more passive and you will stop participating. So that's where you need to break that shell and break that vicious loop. So start participating, increase your participation. So if you're not already participating, start participating. If you are and it is less and you're not satisfied with your own level of participation, then increase it. Okay, then let your work speak for you. So your work speaks the most for you. If you're good at your work, you are known for that. So there are no two ways about it. This should rather be the first thing, that you're known for your work. So give your best to your work and you will be noticed. Okay, then do not hesitate in sharing your ideas and suggestions. Now, I'm not going to talk about psychological safety here, that whether you have that amount of psychological safety within your organization to share things, because those are external factors which we cannot control. But here, we need to understand that wherever we get a chance, we should step out and share our suggestions and, ideas with other people, the team and the higher management, if possible. Then hold high moral and ethical values. If you are like Mitu also mentioned, that your behavior, your attitude, your ethical values, these things, they attract respect for you. People hold you at a high level when you are holding a high moral and ethical value. So that's very important. You can't be mean in the team. So if you are mean, people, you're known for being mean in the team. Okay, then take a step ahead of your roles and responsibilities. So I will not say go over the board, just spoil your work life balance and do all sorts of things. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying just take one step ahead of your role and responsibilities if you really want to be known, noticed and discovered, because that's how within your team, by your immediate bosses, you will be discovered and you will be noticed, that okay, this is the person. And I, frankly, in front of Deepti, I will say that is how I actually got noticed. I was just mere a Agilathon participant. When I started learning about Agile, I was a participant, and that's when I started extending my role, not just as a participant, but as somebody who could contribute in the event by giving my suggestions, my feedback, my input, and however I could help with the website. Although it was not my job, but I just started doing it because I loved it, I liked it, and that's how I actually got discovered and she noticed. So it is not about flattery. I'm saying it is all about helping and extending yourself, your help to a different level, not just keeping restraining yourself to the level where you are working, where you are, where your roles and responsibilities are. Try to step up to the next level. This is what I mean. Okay, so now we will come to tips for being discoverable in finding jobs. So in general, we are not spending more time in this. So let's go back to this slide, and I would like to read this thing for you, these tips for you. So how to be discoverable when you are looking for a job? So a job change, a career change. So it can be all sorts of changes that you're looking for. So how to make your resume stand out from the rest? And you all know that, these hiring managers, they are they don't have the right skill set to actually judge if this person is right for this job description or not, because they are just there for the purpose of scrutinizing your resumes, and they are scrutinizing so many resumes per day, hundreds of resumes they are reviewing every day. How will you make sure that your resume stands out from the rest? It is a hard battle to win. Then so that's for that we will be taking a couple of tips. Then marking your presence on the web. So when I say on the web, I'm not just talking about social media, I'm also talking about websites. So we will take that part also in detail in a short while. And then lastly, about effective presence on social media platforms. So we all have agreed just now that social media presence and social media profiles play a very important role these days, especially post COVID or during this COVID time. This has become the most important thing and helpful as well. Okay, so let's quickly dive into the tips for how to be discoverable in finding the right job. So we will quickly consider this butterfly model, which is actually given by Lisa Atkins. And this is a beautiful model, and we will not get into too much of details. I will not be explaining this model in detail to you, considering the short time box. So if you see this model, you will see that this is basically for all kind of agile roles. So all kind of agile roles, they fit within this model, and it is mostly about the competencies, the core competencies required for different roles and for different domains. So like in if you see here, down here, you've got these three domains. So the domains lie here and the competencies are on the left and the right hand side. And so like, for example, if the role is of teaching, so that of a trainer. So what is the core competency which is needed for this particular role? And you need to, so why we are taking this up is that we need to create our resume based upon this butterfly model. So this is you can say a differentiating factor. This is how you can actually bring your resume up in that stack of resumes, and you can actually get yourself noticed by the hiring managers. So so you can read about this butterfly model, and you can just Google butterfly model by Lisa Atkins, and you will find a great and amazing article where they have explained everything about this. So what I'm trying to explain here is that first thing, like also if you see in Deepti's session, she said that you have to really, be mindful and understand that, is this the role that I want to play? Does this role resonate within me? Do you think that this role that you are aspiring for, so maybe let's suppose you are a scrum master right now, or let's suppose you are a tester right now, and you say, okay, I want to be a scrum master. Why? Do you really think that being a scrum master will give you that kind of satisfaction that when you get up in the morning, you say, oh, I'm a scrum master, I'm going to meet my team and do all sorts of things with my team? Do you feel like that? Or is it that you get up in the morning and you say, I'm a scrum master, oh my god, what do I do? This team, it is so difficult to handle and I really can't take it. So those things are also important, but that's not what we have to discuss in detail here. Right now what is important is that you already know that, okay, this is the role that I want to play. So you have to understand the core competency required for that role. Understand that. Write your resume based on that competency. Mention all sorts of things required for that particular role in your resume, but in a very creative way. Okay. So what are the venues where you can get discovered? So that was about what to include in your how to actually frame your resume. So let's first understand what are the different venues where you can get discoverable. So first and foremost comes your job portals. Now this job portals might not be the right platform to get the right job for various reasons. There are lots of discussions and debates going on this. I will not get into those discussions, but they still are the best venue to get discovered. Why? Because then you start appearing in the search results. Because Google is actually the big daddy for all kind of searches. And when somebody holds your resume and searches for your name on the web, the first and foremost search results that come are either LinkedIn or from these job portals, which are like Naukri.com, jobsforme.com, monster.com. Lots of portals are there. So these job portals, they give you that visibility that you are present there on the web with these job portals, because you are actually entering all the details that are required by any hiring manager to understand that, yes, you really are the person and the right person for this job or not. Now, what is important for you to keep in mind while creating your profiles on these job portals is that, first of all, that if you have your profile on all job portals, all job portals, so if there are 10 that you can think of which come on top in the search result for job portals, keep that as your target. So these things are to be planned. It's not just that you just get started. Plan out things that, okay, now I give myself 1 week to create my profile on all these 10 job portals. Write it down, start doing that, and make sure that every job portal has the same profile, your same job description, your everything about you. There has to be consistent information on all these profiles that you're creating on different platforms. Okay. Then social media platforms, like I just said, LinkedIn comes on top. So your LinkedIn profile actually is the most important thing that you need in being discoverable, because it also helps you in cross-referencing. It helps you in getting recommendations, the right recommendations. And the best thing is that people for whom you have already worked for and before in your past, they are also in your network. So if you are a good employee and you've got good recommendations and feedback from within your network, just imagine the kind of chances you have. So half of the battle is already won if you've got a good LinkedIn profile. So when you're actually creating your profile, you keep in mind that you have to be creative. Don't be that typical old school that I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. No, be creative. See a couple of other profiles, learn and gather some key points from them, similar kind of profiles, make your notes, build your profile. So building your profile, I'm not saying just create it. So when you build something, it takes time. Spend some time on thinking how you want your LinkedIn profile to be. And it is also important to keep in mind all the time that you have to focus on that one role that you are aspiring for. You might be good at all sorts of things. I am saying that I want to grow more trees, I want to do this, that, and everything. I can just go in and put all that information on my LinkedIn profile on top. I have to make sure that what is it, why do I want to be discovered? The first thing should be that, and that is what you have to mention on your LinkedIn profile as the primary thing. And then other things can follow. Other thing is that so I don't want to spend too much time on this LinkedIn thing. And Deepti, just remind me if Sonia, Deepti, just let me know if I'm close to my time box, because I just keep going on. Okay, so on LinkedIn, make sure that you do two more things, which is very, very important. One is that you start connecting with the industry experts and the leaders which are in the same role that you are aspiring for. So when you do that, one thing is that you get into their network. Second thing is that you start learning from them. So whatever they are posting, whatever they are writing, their articles, their blogs, their comments, you get to know about that. Be active there. So it's not like just, it was said by Anjuman that it's now LinkedIn is not something that you see over the weekend. LinkedIn is something that you have to actually stop yourself every day that, okay, I've spent enough time on LinkedIn today. Let's do some work. It stands relevant to me, at least. I don't know if you can relate to it. Like earlier, it used to be Facebook, but now for professionals like us, I think we have to stop ourselves from LinkedIn. Okay, so Connect yourself with all these big shots and industry experts. Then be active. Be active on LinkedIn. So when I say active, what do? You need to, so let's suppose you read some article, some relevant article. So you comment on that, okay? You write your conclusion about it. You write about your takeaways from that article. So whatever you liked about it. And please avoid writing negative comments on LinkedIn. Please don't do that. So anybody who does that is not, it's not a good thing to do, believe me. Right? So use LinkedIn as a positive tool for you, because that's one big thing that you can cover to be discoverable. Then apart from LinkedIn, there are all different type of other platforms where you can make yourself visible by being present. So it's not mandatory, but you can try to be there. For example, local meetup groups. So if you are in a part of, so just join your local meetup groups. So that's where, and then copy your profile. So let's suppose you create a nice LinkedIn profile, and you have a nice job profile as well. So pick things from there and put in your meetup profile. So, and then like YouTube. So if you're confident and you think you can start a YouTube channel, you can, share your views about anything. So it can be a book, it can be any event, it can be about anything for which you want people to know about. You can do that. All right. And so coming to the last point, or the last venue that you can use to be discoverable is a personal website. Now, not many people have their personal website. To be frank, even I don't have. Okay. I have a company website, but the reason behind not having a personal website is because I want to be known by the work I do within my company. So I never felt the need for a personal website because I was not applying anywhere. I was actually running my own company. So that speaks for me. So if it is relevant to you, it is okay. But if it is not relevant to you and you are looking for a job, I suggest that you go in for a very basic personal branding website, which should have a about me page, which should have, your skill sets, and uh, how, how how you are actually influencing things in your team. Why should you be hired? If you are actually looking to be hired, then your personal website must have your soft skills, that you're good at this. What is it that you bring to the table? Why a person should hire you? Then lastly, it is always suggested that you enable blogs. So these days, like being from this web design and development background, I always suggest that you go in for a WordPress website, because those are very easy to manage and you have a lot of control over your website. Because I have seen that people have a very scary impression about websites, that, oh, how will we manage, how will we do it? And I'm always ready to guide you. If you want, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I can definitely give you suggestions and tips on how to get your own website done. That's not an issue. But have a website of your own. So if, let's suppose, somebody searches for sonianegi.com and that website is there, so just imagine the kind of impression they'll have. They'll say, oh wow, she has a website. And then all the information, relevant information, present it in a nice way. All right. Okay, so moving ahead, we want to quickly see what are the things we should include in resumes and we should exclude in resumes. And most of it will be repetition, because a lot has been covered by Meetu already in her session. And I will just go on quickly. So in resumes for agile roles, what should you include and what all you should not include at all? Okay. So first thing, so see, apart from all the typical things which are always there in the resume, like your experience, like your skill set, like your certifications. These days, resumes are like, they have one full page of certifications, and people like to flaunt their certifications, even if they know nothing about what they've got certified for. Please do not mind my comment and excuse me for that comment, but this is true. I'm also a certified product owner. So I can, very confidently say that I know what I am actually certified for, but I restricted myself to just being certified for this because there's no point highlighting all other available certifications in my resume if they are not relevant. So get certified for relevant roles only, not just because it is there in the market. And include, so what will you include in your resume apart from these typical things which are always there? Include what you are capable of. So when somebody actually reads out that I'm capable of doing this, and not just this, what is the differentiator? How are you different from, what difference did you make in your team? So how did it help your team? What did you bring to the table? Okay, then your contribution in your current role. So your current role is, let's suppose you are Scrum Master. So we know that Scrum Master is an agility enabler. So just by writing that Scrum, enable agility in my team doesn't help. How did you make that difference? Come up with those references. Those are really needed, and people like to read those real references. Okay, don't pick up keywords from the internet, because I just when I was reading about agile, and I thought, okay, I can be a Scrum Master, and I thought, okay, let's see some of the job descriptions for Scrum Master, and I was amazed to see that they copied entire thing from the web and copied in the job description. We want you to be agility enabler, this, and all that. And I just closed the window. I said, okay, they don't know who they are hiring, right? Okay, so include those things in your resume, and also include your hard skills and your soft skills. So when I say hard skills and soft skills, Neetu mentioned it, and lots of other speakers also mentioned about the technical competency of the person, apart from what is expected from their role. So like, for example, if let's suppose, like Neetu said, if you are a developer, then you can be a great Scrum Master because you already know about all these technicalities, and you can, grab things at the very base level because you understand what is going on. So all the hard skills that you possess, if you do not possess those hard skills, do that. That is where I say, and everybody says, that prepare yourself for that role. So if for that role certain hard skills are required, for example, let's suppose these days everybody should be aware of, should be able to use the project management tools. Similarly, let's suppose you start learning a programming language, and about all the technical. So you bring some technical competency along with the core competency required for that role, right? Then soft skills. So when we say soft skills, like the slide that I showed you before, that was more about the soft skills. So for the soft skills, I would like to give you an example for 3 different roles. Sorry if your role is not covered here. I'm just covering 3 roles here. So examples to how to mention your soft skills in your resume. So for Scrum Masters, I will say, give evidence of what practices did you introduce to enable agility within your team. So don't just say that I enable agility within my team. How? So write about that and be precise. Then for product owners, let's say, for example, so you say how your analytical skills saved your former company costs or improved revenue. So any 1 or 2 references, okay? Then for agile coaches, it can be how you led your team to be self-directed. So you don't just say that I led my team to be self-directed. Can you give some references? So that's needed. Okay, just to quickly understand this diagram, this is the circle of influence. So what is your circle of influence? Your circle of influence initially starts with yourself. So now, since we are talking about career and jobs over here, we are not talking about your, personal influence, but your work and, everything that is expected from your role. So how are you performing as a person? How are you influencing your own team? So now you have to also understand, you may be at a, in your career trajectory, you may be at a very starting point, or you may be at a very high level. So as you move ahead in your career trajectory, you will see that your influence keeps expanding to higher levels. So there may be about, out of all these participants, maybe some are still at the team level, some may be at the leadership level, some may be influencing at the organization level as well. So you need to include that in your resume, that how you have influenced this circle and which circle in which way. Again, be precise. Be precise and don't give huge paragraphs of text, chunk of text. That's a total put off. Nobody reads huge text. So however creatively and precisely you can mention how you have influenced various uh, levels of the circle, please do that. All right. So quickly coming to what you should not include in your resume. So this is just my opinion, and maybe somebody might not agree with this thing, but I think this is more or less true. So first is that do not deviate from your target role. Stick to your target role. Primarily, you should write about, mention about the role that you're seeking. Okay. Then do not mess up with or mix information. So here I will give you an example, that if you are, let's suppose, a product owner and you are also part of an organizing committee. So you can relate to it, or I can relate to it because it is actually about me. So I'm a product owner. I'm also, member of organizing committee, doing this, doing that, and all sorts of things. But what do I mention in my resume? What do I highlight in my resume is only about the role that I'm seeking. The other things can be a part of your resume as additional information and divided in a different heading and title, but do not mix up information. Keep information organized in a hierarchical way so that it is readable and it is digestible also. Then avoid making spelling mistakes, please, grammatical errors. Run a spell check before you actually submit. Okay. And these days it is so easy because you can just go and edit your profile. So just make sure that you remove all the spelling mistakes. Okay. Unnecessary personal information should be avoided. For example, your age. Why do you have to write your age? You don't want people to judge you by your age. So if, let's suppose, I write I'm 60 years old, so maybe I'm just, my resume is thrown in the bin. So let's not mention our age. It is not needed. We should be known by our skills and what do we bring to the table. Then too many hobbies. Why do we have to write too many hobbies? If you're really into your career, I think nobody will be able to stick to too many hobbies because you don't get time for those things. So maybe you get time for certain hobbies and it is okay to mention that, but do not, occupy too much space for your hobbies and all those things. So stick to your your achievements, how you can be a great employee, why should you be hired. Then avoid giving too much of information. Keep certain things for the interview also. So if you write too much on in your resume, first thing is that maybe nobody will read, and then there should be something left for you to actually present in your interview. Okay. So reserve it for your interview and avoid those things. So these are only a couple of things. There can be a lot of things which you should exclude, but considering the time box, I would like to take only the primary ones. So a perfect recipe for being discoverable is, number one, having a great resume. So when I say great resume, I don't say decorate it. I mean to say, put it nicely so that it, whosoever is reading it can relate to it, can actually feel that, okay, this person I want to meet. And let's just, call this person for the interview. That's what is important. So keep that in mind and don't overdo it. Second is presence on web platform. So you can have, on social media platforms, rather, I meant. So have your presence on all social media platforms. Don't think that, oh, what is the need for having a profile on 10? No, have your profile on 10 platforms. It is needed because when you are, present on everywhere, that's when you come on top of the search. And that's what we want. Okay, so you like everywhere. So be everywhere, but make sure that everywhere the information is consistent. So if you're not able to manage it, if you're not able to manage multiple profiles, please don't do that, because there should not be inconsistency in the information that you're providing. If you don't have enough time to update it, don't do it. Do it only for the top portals. Lastly, have a website of your own if you can. All right, guys, although I am not supposed to, this is not the idea, my part of my session. I was more about to tell you about professional tips, but these are just quick personal tips that I wanted to really share. So Deepti, do I have 1 minute more to share? Okay, thank you. So personal tips: be mindful, first thing. Okay, and identify and understand your target persona and work on polishing it. So one thing, focus on that one thing you want to be and just go for it. Start learning, start reading. If you possess something, it is okay. If not, then it can be acquired. But if you really want to do it, go for it. Okay, then come out of your shell to be discovered. So if you want to discover a crab, how will you discover that crab if the crab is sitting in the shell? So if you walk on the beach and you find a shell and you turn the shell, you will see there's a crab which is doing this. So if you really want to see the crab has to come out of that shell. And this is what we have to do. So if you want to be discovered, be more active, be more extrovert, come out of the shell, break that shell. I know it's difficult, but it's difficult only for the first time. Just go for it and believe me, it's not difficult. Then imagine your career wall as your career as a wall. So imagine your career as a wall. So can you build a wall in one day, or just by doing a magic wand and wall is built? No, you have to put one brick at a time. The same way you put one brick at a time in your career wall. So pick up things that you want to acquire, pick up things that you want to polish, that things that you want to do to improve your resume, to improve your career trajectory, and focus on that and achieve it. Okay, so one at a time. Don't get overwhelmed that, okay, I want to see myself at level 10. Oh my God, I'm not reaching level 10. Don't do that. You can't reach level 10 if you don't step on level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's when you reach level 10. So step by step, don't get overwhelmed, you know. And last and not the least, I actually picked this point from Mitu's session. So it's like, have the right attitude and a good behavior. If you have the right attitude, it shows. So if I do not have that right attitude, you can see, in my gestures, in my behavior, in the way I am explaining, do I really mean it? So if I don't mean it, you will come to know that, oh, she doesn't mean it. Just see how she's stumbling, how she's stammering, and she's just not able to do justice to what she's saying. So have that attitude, in yourself, and believe in yourself that, yes, you can do it. If you put your intention right, you will get it. Okay, so that's it from my side, guys. I really hope that you like my session, and I'm open to all sorts of questions that you have, because I haven't been looking at the chat window at all.
Thank you, Rakhi. That was so amazing.
Thank you, Sonia. I will
Now
stop
that we
sharing.
have